Hey everyone, so I was going over some old videos, and I mean really old, like 2013 videos. I came across a video, my very first video in fact, of using the table saw to turn. So make tenons on the end of logs or to turn a dowel or some simple turnings. And it's a really simple jig I set up on a table saw sled I had at the time. And I thought because we're doing the new table saw sled and all the crazy stuff that it can do over the next few days, I wanted to go ahead and share this because it's really a super simple setup, and if you're careful, it's safe. If you're careful, probably the most important thing to remember if you're ever going to try this, and I don't recommend it unless you have a lot of experience and understand the forces that are going on with the table saw, but if you do try it, remember to always keep your material mounted right next to the headstock and right next to the tailstock. Don't leave it hanging out in the middle of air with a threaded rod coming through on both sides. I've seen that a couple of times. That's scary dangerous. Don't do it. All right, that being said, check out this old video. Way to do some turning on your table saw. Super easy way to do different size tenons, and the really nice thing about using this kind of a system for doing round tenons is your tenons are perfectly lined up with each other. It's just the nature of the beast, the way this sits in this jig. You can't mess it up. They will always be perfectly in line, which is great. It's hard to say. You can't do that with one of those drill attached tenoners unless you set up a real fancy system. Just a real quick setup I threw up on here on my table saw. You know, if you were going to do a lot of this, you'd want to do a dedicated system. I've got a bolt going in this side, a 1/4 inch bolt, and I have a 5/16 bolt going in this side over here in this front section. Now this front section is threaded. I threaded in there. It's about 1.5 inches into the hole, and I threaded in there with a couple of jam nuts here to keep everything turning nice. Same in the back, 1/4 inch bolt with a jam nut. I don't need this to thread, I just want a good snug fit there. Anyway, I just wanted to show everybody this cool trick for doing lathe work on your table saw. It's a real quick way to make a big dowel if you need one. Also, if you need to do some sanding, you can go ahead and just put your drill back on there and let it rip while you're sanding it out. I told you it was old. So I wanted to show you guys that because that was the very first time I'd actually shown turning a spindle or a log on my table saw, and that was, you know, August of 2013. So this is not a new idea. If you saw the video I put out earlier, this is a much more complex system, or it's a much more complex system than what I just showed you, and that's from way back when. So for me, it's always about innovation. You know, it's about taking a step forward, trying to figure out new ways of doing things, and just having some fun. It's always good to have fun. Anyway, thanks for watching, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.